Okay, so let me preface all of this by saying that was a good direct. Indisputably, that was great. Given that we're approaching the end of the Switch's life, the number of new first-party games we're seeing is incredible. I didn't see it coming. We were getting comfortable in the idea that the Switch's lineup until the successor would be largely made up of re-releases and remakes. So it's a pleasant surprise to see Nintendo look at us and go, "Get a load of this goober wanting older Zelda games on Switch. Ha! How about a new one instead?" Let me touch on the moments that stood out as highlights for me personally. Kicking off with the announcement of the new Mario and Luigi game was completely unexpected. But with it, I think it's safe to say that Mario RPGs are back in full force. It honestly looks to be an incredible time, and I'm genuinely looking forward to picking it up when it releases. I mean, this is a big moment. The series hasn't seen a new game in nearly a decade. Boy, it sure would be cool if another series that hasn't had a new entry in a decade showed up. I'll get back to this. Since Alpha Dream obviously isn't behind it, I wonder who's developing it. I don't know if this information was shared already or not, so maybe one of you can tell me down in the comments. Nintendo Switch Sports made an appearance with an upcoming update, which is an entirely new sport. Day one. That's all I'm gonna say. Super Mario Party is getting a sequel, and I groaned at what this implied. I wanted to give it the benefit of the doubt though, considering it generally looks good. It's not like we're gonna go back to mandatory singular Joy-Con controls or anything. Being an optimist is a full-time job, and I think I'm going to quit. Look, the game looks fine overall, but I feel like it's gonna be held back by its controls. Who wants to use a singular Joy-Con in 2024? Not me. Not me. Not me! The Legend of Zelda. For real this time. This right here blew me away. From what I'm aware, folks have been clamoring for a Zelda game where the Legend of Zelda game is about the Legend of Zelda, thus you get to play as Zelda and discover how her legend was worth making... Wait, how many Zelda games are there? 29 games. Yup, 29 games. This is super exciting, not just for the fact that we finally get to play as Zelda, don't be mistaken. Zelda is no mere cosmetic swap. She is her own character with her own abilities separate from Link, and it's great to see Nintendo taking full advantage of that. They could have just given us a new 2D Zelda game, and I'm sure we all would have been generally fine with that. But no, they're going above and beyond here. They're giving us a new 2D Zelda game. We'll still be getting that condensed 2D Zelda experience, but now with entirely new abilities that will fundamentally change how the player goes about the 2D Zelda experience. It seems like they may be incorporating the freedom in player experimentation of the open world Zelda games into the 2D formula, which has loads of potential that I'm hoping will be a series mainstay as a subsidiary. English is hard. Ideally, I'd like to see this style of 2D Zelda going forward alongside the original 2D Zelda formula, in between the big boy titles. Either way, the fact that we're getting smaller scale titles between what I assume we're going forward with being the open world titles is a win in general, if you ask me. We finally got word on Metroid Prime 4. It's real, it wasn't a shared fever dream, and it made an appearance here, in this direct. So, that's cool, that's huge, that's... hold on. It's just my daily "you're not a Metroid fan" reminder. Oh. Alright. I dreaded it. I ran from it. I've gone through all the stages of grief by now. Except... acceptance. Donkey Kong Country Returns HD. Look, I know, okay? I know I'm in the minority on this, but I've tried and I just cannot help my disappointment here. The general consensus from what I've seen is that most seem okay or indifferent with this. There are some out there who would have been more pleased with this being the announcement of a new game, but even then they're glad to see that DK got recognition at all. Which I don't think is the issue here. It's not like Nintendo just up and forgot about the big DK. He's one of their most recognizable mascots. He made an appearance in the Mario Bros. Movie where he played a decent role, and they're adding an entire DK-themed expansion to the Nintendo World amusement park. That is not a minor thing, okay? The issue wasn't whether or not DK would ever be acknowledged or anything like that. It's that, as far as games go, the DKC series has been dormant for over a decade by this point, only receiving ports since the last new release back in 2014, and I struggle to believe that Nintendo looked at this dormancy with a straight face and said, you know what'll breathe new life into this neglected game series? A second port of a now 14-year-old game. Yeah, that'll reignite the flame. The fact that Returns is getting its second port isn't really the issue here. In fact, I think it's cool with it on Switch, because now we Switch owners now have access to all the mainline 2D games, the original trilogy on SNES Online, with the last 2 modern games on the eShop. But if they were just gonna port over Returns, my question then becomes, what the hell took so long? Tropical Freeze was ported in 2018 during the Switch's early years, right? Why wait till the Switch's twilight years to release just another port? Because now I'm pretty convinced that we just won't be seeing a new release on the Switch entirely, which is such a shame because I feel this could have been DK's big break. The Nintendo Switch has an indisputably massive install base, so much so that the majority of Nintendo-owned IPs have been more successful now than they have ever been throughout their series' histories. Mario Kart, Zelda, Animal Crossing, Pikmin, Metroid, Kirby, even Pokemon, as big as it already has always been, only continue to grow staggeringly larger. The time is now. I have no doubt that a new DK game would have been largely successful with proper marketing, and to see that opportunity go untaken kinda hurts a bit, I won't lie. I think it's super unfortunate, and I've seen some out there that say this port is only a sign of things to come, as they're using this port to hold us over until the big DK game they might have planned for the Switch successor. Which, okay buddy, need a refill on the copium you're on? Like I said, the time is now. Why would they throw this opportunity away and then give DK a shot on a new console where an install base would not only need to be rebuilt, but isn't guaranteed to be nearly as large as the Switch's? It doesn't make sense to me. Sorry, clearly I'm heatedly passionate on this subject. I've really been clamoring for a new DK game for several years now, and I just can't help but find this a little upsetting. A little upsetting? Aren't you already a proud owner of Returns on the Wii? It's not like you're gonna buy it again or anything. Shouldn't that bother you more? You honestly should just be grateful. I mean, Donkey Kong just made an appearance in a direct. Man, ain't no way you're actually settling for that. It's absurd that it's taken this long to charge $60 for like $60 for a 14-year-old game. It should have been a remaster of the original trilogy. Damn it, I would have rather taken that. Banana boys. I'm gonna go lie down. See you in the next one.